Alrighty. Another game way back in the time between George Gossip on white side and Siegbert Tarrasch on the black side. So we go and play e4 and e5 and knight c3. So we get the Vienna game, and black goes with them a little more rare bishop c5. More common are either knight developments here, I think. And here white plays knight f3. Even f4 is like, this looks like it's preventing f4, but it's possible too, I think. This is no good for black, even though it looks like they can snipe a pawn here, and they can. But then, I know, this guy goes around and gets chased a lot, and you waste a lot of time moving the queen around, and you probably have to move it still a lot more. And while white has pretty big looking center here and already a few pieces out. Well, I don't know about the rooks being out there yet, but black's not done anything. And they are probably not done moving the queen around too. Not good at all. Well, we didn't get f4 in the game, but knight f3 instead. And black defends the pawn that was attacked, d6, and white goes d4. Bang. Black has to do something about that, and they do. They chop. And white takes back. Centralized knight. Might be looking at f5 at some point. Well, black plays a good move, of course. Develop. You're ready to castle. And white plays pretty natural looking moves too. Bishop c4. Looking at the maybe soft f7 at the future. Here, Tarrasch goes into a little bit of a suspicious space here. Plays bishop e4. Aiming at the pawn here, but it's moving the piece second time. White says, yeah, take it, I don't care. Castles. And, well, black does take it, so it's a third time. We did wreck the pawn structure a little bit here. This is obviously gonna end up real bad. Queen e2, not rook e1. That lets black actually bail out because of the counter fork in the end. But if you do it with the queen, then there is no counter fork in the end. Bing. And d5 is not gonna save you because we can, well, we can also again just like say no castles for you and sack the, like even go for this, and this is completely horrible, of course. Not gonna end up well. Black wasn't that crazy that they would take, but they should castle here or play something. But he's gonna go and make, he wasted a lot of time with this maneuver already. 3 moves with the bishop. Now we're moving this pawn on the flank. They're preventing, like trying to prevent the bishop g5, and this pin always can be unpleasant, with especially with the no bishop retreat backs. It's hard to break, but it's not lethal. And this allows white some annoying possibilities. In a game, they prevent castles with the bishop a3. Tarrasch gives this the exclamation mark. Even stronger are just f5, f4. Blasting through in the center, since black has been doing, well, wasting time too much. Even a5 instantly is possible with the pop. And then we can even sack the piece again, because taking here is going to end up in some kind of a bad situation here. Bishop e6. Here, surprisingly, you're supposed to take with the rook, not with the bishop, because the king kind of escapes here and is actually surprisingly safe here, even though the rook's blocked in. But if you take with the rook first here, and then queen e2, there is very little you can do about this. Like you can try to defend it. King is not going anywhere. You can try to defend it, but then the discoveries are gonna be pretty horrible. Well, where do you even put the queen? It's instantly gonna die if you put it, for instance, here. Yeah, so ways to punish here. Black f4 also with the plan of e5 to come is also really strong. This is also a good move. Aiming at here. Well, black did not castle, letting e5 to come in. Whether rook would be here. This would be fine for white. Get to kick black around. Instead they play knight bd7, aiming at the e5 square, and here white again should start blasting through f4 and with the idea of following with e5. For instance, now castles e5 again, and there's the pin. Pin with the win. Instead, now it's white's turn to go, and like they have a big lead in the development. They should but that is always a dynamic advantage in a way that it can disappear if you don't use it that time. Like there's no material advantage, which would be a more of a static advantage. You can doesn't disappear if you dilly-dally. Here he should go for a kill with the more direct play. Here he keeps on building, which is pretty reasonable. Queen e2, we want to put the rooks there, and the plan is to go slower. But now black gets to castle. And now we are not threatening e5, so we're not getting through there yet. And maybe again, well, here he goes for rook batteries. Like, it does look logical. Like, we want to build this and have rooks behind it, but it's too slow here. Let's this advantage slip away. Black plays rook e8. And then white plays knight f5, which looks really tempting. Here Tarrasch thinks that white should just play bishop d3 and f4, and well, we support this pawn and keep the plan alive. Instead, the knight f5 allows black knight e5. Bang, and also bang. And well, we have to move the bishop, because it goes here. But the bishops end up kind of it looks good, and it logically it is there, but maybe supporting it e4 would have been better, and then well, f5 too. So back bang. Now it's a lot less likely that the file is gonna ever open up to have some business on f7 with the two pawns already in front of this rook here. Also, it's kind of like buried alive here because of this guy here. I don't know what kind of is there any kind of possibilities of using those extra pawns there? Maybe, but it also looks really risky too, and really slow too. Like, you're not really threatening to play g4 yet in a while, and even then you have to spend moves moving the pawns forward before you're threatening g5. And black hands gets to do stuff between two. Alright, so black says, how are you gonna defend the pawn? While white kicks the knight around, but the knight just goes, like white defends the pawn, the knight just goes around, bing bang, and asks the same question. How are you gonna defend the pawn? I think here, well, in a game white played something really desperate. I think here he should just let the pawn go and try to get the bishops doing something, like ping, try to get these guys to work. Already threatening to wreck the pawn structure there with takes. Let's say black plays here. Maybe we'll chop again. Probably have to defend this, and then I don't know. open up the other bishop here, and this could be counterplay. Black's definitely still better, but who knows? Instead, in a game, white went desperado mode and blanked the bishop sack on e6. His idea is something. Well, black took and then we get a protected passed pawn on e6, but it's just not enough. It's already blockaded really well. Queen is hanging, queen went a4, hits the bishop. White defended the bishop with this way, and then we move the queen a5. I don't know, aim f5 or maybe h5 and with some attacking ideas. So here white block those with f5, protects their passer here. Well, the downside of course f4, f5 is that we leave this square undefended, so Tarrasch jumps at the opportunity to get a nice knight there, which can't be disturbed easily. And also, well, apparently Tarrasch here predicted what his opponent is gonna do, and they did it. Bishop b2. Can you see what's wrong with this one? The idea is simple. Pop, pop, and maybe we have some fun on the g file. Downside, of course, is that it's undefended. What happens to undefended pieces is that they tend to drop off. Also, never play f4, f5, or f3. Just don't move the f-pawn. Always you lose to some check somewhere. And here, bang. Well, white already sacked the piece there, desperado mode, but even second piece was not enough to resign. c5, bang. c takes, c takes. Queen takes, we got the pawn for it. And then pop, queen trade. Now you're 2 pieces down without queens. And well, eventually here they resigned, but that was a funky game. Probably not the highest quality in the world. Where white had some chances to actually probably even win the game with if he would have gone a little more aggressively after black wasted time in their opening phase, but then they hesitated, let the black game in, and then his game collapsed pretty fast. Anyways, thanks for watching. Until next time.